Welcome to my channel. Today we're in my closet at my vanity. My baby's sleeping and I'm taking out my hair. I don't think I'm gonna be able to take it all out because I'm actually in a time crunch. Ignore my stains, please, Lord have mercy. I'm actually in a time crunch because I have to leave at 3:30 and it's like 1:30 right now, and my hair, taking it out, takes like 5 freaking hours. So we'll see what I can get done. I'll probably just try to get the rest done at work. But for the meantime, story time. And this story time is going to be I think I'm gonna do my birth story, to be honest. My hair's long, so I just feel like I can't cut it too short because I mean I do need a trim. Or whatever. But I'm just done with these. My birthday's coming up and I want my curls. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right, hair is cut. Now, in case I have to stop, I'm gonna start with the back. Okay, y'all, so I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant December of 2023. And I found out, I mean, I knew I was pregnant before a confirmation of a test because honestly, intuition, but honestly my boyfriend knew before I knew. He saw my boobs and was like, you think you're pregnant? I was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I don't know, it's always possible, but like, no, I don't think so. I'm getting a period soon, so I won't know until leading up. And then and I always have like period symptoms that are close to pregnancy symptoms or are pregnancy symptoms, so you never really know. But yeah, so I was like, okay, what the heck, I'll take a pregnancy test, and it came back negative. And I was like, yeah. But then like the next day I'm like, I don't know, I don't know if it's because I'm a hypochondriac, but I'm feeling like I'm pregnant. You don't feel that, it was way too soon, but I just felt. I'm not going anywhere with this. Let me get a comb. Okay. So I'm like, I'm feeling like I'm pregnant now. Let me take another test. And I took a test and it had the faintest line. So I was like, so I took like 3 more the days leading like after that. Keep in mind, like 2 weeks before I had a pregnancy scare. Maybe not 2 weeks, a month before I had a pregnancy scare. But yeah, anyways. So yeah, and I was pregnant and Eric was right. So he was out of state. We had a long distance relationship, so he was finishing up college, I was finishing up college in December. So at the end of December I had 1 semester left, so that last semester was the January through May semester. And yeah, that was my last semester. So I was like, okay, like I have 1 more semester left, I'm gonna graduate. He had 2 semesters left. I had a good job, very good job. I lived on my own, I made good money, like, you know, it was okay. I didn't expect my pregnancy to be what it was. I don't know, I think in my head I expected, like, I'm a romancer of life, so I was expecting, I romanticized what pregnancy would be like, but without having your partner there, it's actually really, really hard. Really, really hard. So I was miserable. The first trimester, it was nothing but throwing up. I had not one good day. I was sick the entire time, missed a lot of work. All of my school went online. I purposely made my classes online anyways because I knew, like, starting that semester because I was pregnant. So fortunately I was able to know before starting school, so a lot of my classes were just online. but I had a hard time even getting to the online ones because I was just sick. I mean, I couldn't keep anything down, so I was worried that I wouldn't even be able to keep my baby because I couldn't nourish myself. I wasn't eating anything. I survived on bagels, orange juice, plain bagels specifically, nothing on them, orange juice, and Cheetos. Oh, and pickles. Those were the things that I could eat throughout the day. Other than that, nothing was staying down, and I'd be starving. I could barely brush my teeth. Every time I brushed my teeth, I would throw up. So eventually I started only brushing my teeth like at night, or like I just purposely wouldn't go anywhere all day. I would just stay in my house all day, every day, so I didn't have to interact with people and I could have stink breath at my house. But yeah, I ended up, I was like, I'm gonna cause myself a freaking hernia the way that I'm throwing up multiple times a day. It was just rough. It was rough. Finally, and I was visiting Eric like monthly. So once a month I would visit him. Even before pregnancy, I would visit him monthly. So the month of January, I did visit him. I visited him, I think, for 2 weeks in between semesters. So, and like in order to get that kind of time off and not affect my bills, I would work like 14 days straight and then just take time off. And that's always what I would do. Like I've always been a hustler, so it's like not really hard, but you know, add pregnancy and sickness. But I was determined. So you know, I'm up there with him, and actually was up there with him that started the it was around 7 weeks that I started being sick, and that's when I was up there with him. So I was sick in Alabama, and then since then until the second trimester I was sick the whole time. Second trimester came, and it was better, but by that point I was already swollen. So second trimester was, I was after the 3rd month. So by the 3rd month, I looked like already that, like, my feet, my ankles, they looked like I was 6 months pregnant already. Like, and then the doctor, I was high risk because of that, and my placenta, they thought I had placenta previa, so I was on watch. And mind you, my job, I'm on my feet 24 hours, like 15 hours a day I'm on my feet. I would work the 15-hour shifts. I was a manager, so I'm working long periods of time. And then I'm a full-time student, so my rest is it's school. I'm not resting. So it was a lot. My feet, I mean, you could just see I swelled up like a balloon. I really did. And I was just retaining a lot of water. But the doctors thought that I was having like problem with my blood sugar, thought diabetes was gonna be a problem. So I was just a high risk in general. But the second trimester was way better. That was my best trimester. I have scoliosis, and so that, when I was getting bigger, I got big pretty quick, so my body couldn't adjust to how big I had gotten. So I had a lot of pain. My feet hurt, my sciatica would act up, and so it ended up being that I would have to crawl around my house to get places. I couldn't get myself out my bathtub. There was a few times, fortunately, it would just happen the right times, that someone was at the house that they would be able to get me out the bathtub. But I wouldn't be able to get myself out the bathtub. I wouldn't be able to get myself, like, it was around the house. I couldn't cook myself meals. Like, I was struggling a lot, and just not having my partner there was really hard. And then, like, I started resenting him because, you know, he's on FaceTime and playing his game and living his best life and like laughing, and I'm sitting there boohoo crying, struggling. So it was hard, but I like understood. So I was like, it's fine, I'll do what I can. And my mom, bless her heart, she was there, if not daily, you know, she was there damn near daily. But like, she has a child of her own. My brother, he's 11, 10, so she, you know, he still needed her, but she was there for me a lot. My sisters didn't know I was pregnant though, so they didn't find out until after the 3rd trimester, but when they did find out, they were helpful as well. but yeah, like it was, I kept the pregnancy a secret from a lot of people until a certain time. And we were well supported. Some people weren't as happy, but we were well supported for the most part. And those people that weren't happy ended up being very happy. So it's just, you know, shock of the moment kind of thing. Either way, and now like the love is there and we're very much so supported, and our village is so deep. Our baby is so loved, thank you God. But leading to my 3rd trimester, at that point I ended up being bedridden. I'd gotten so big. Keep in mind, like I said, I got so big that my body was not used to the weight, and I have arches in my feet, but then it forced my feet to become flat because they were so big. And I mean, it was bad. It was rough. It was rough. And I was trying to stay as active as I could, but I couldn't last that long. And you know, Eric would be able to come visit at some points. He played basketball, D1 school, so he's year-round playing basketball, year-round practicing, year-round, you know, he's needed, so it's hard for him to get back. So he was rarely able to come for breaks, but by this time it was summertime. And so I graduated in May. My birthday was in May. I graduated in May, and he was down for that because it was his summertime. And so for a little bit he was able to be here. I believe for like a month and a half he was able to be here for. So we just ate that up, and really I tried to get all my pregnancy fantasies out the way, of like, you know, your partner getting your cravings and like, you know, helping around the house and try to get those out the way while I could experience them. And like him being able to experience the baby kicking and appointments and ultrasounds and stuff like that. Try to get as much as we can in those time periods. Just in case, you know, you never know. If you can't have another one, then that's your experience, you know? And then we found out the gender together, even though I knew from day dot. Once I saw the pregnancy test in my, immediately, Holy Spirit, girl. And I was just like, oh, interesting. Went with it later on. Got to the reveal, like we did an intimate gender reveal, and it was a girl. And I knew it. I just didn't doubt it. It was a girl. And yeah, she's my baby girl. But yeah, so 3rd trimester, and we had our baby shower in August, I think. Around this time, I was having Braxton Hicks pretty often. Which, if you don't know, Braxton Hicks are like false contractions. They're labor pains that aren't actual real labor. I think that I was in pre-labor. I do think so. I think I was in labor for weeks. But because these weren't, Braxton Hicks come and go. These didn't come and go. But we had a couple scares. Actually, the day of my baby shower, that's when it started. And I have pictures of me just like, and my mom, like, I didn't realize in the moment because I was just so overwhelmed with the love of people there. And my mom later, she's like, how you feeling? And I was like, girl, like, I'm having pains. And she's like, and I'm like, yeah, like having like pains in my stomach and, you know, da-da-da-da. And the rest of that night I was having like contraction pains, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, so we were nervous. I was just kind of waiting, and everyone was just sitting watching around trying to see if it would get, you know, worse, you know, whatever, but it didn't. It just kind of kept the same. And then after that night it went away, and then it would come back periodically, weekly. So, and mind you, she was a big baby, and so she filled me up. I could feel her like she was in my ribs, she was in my hips, like I could feel her, like my pelvic, I could feel her. And she was ready to get out. I knew she was. But we got down to the time, like I said, I was bedridden, and so I was off work at this point. I was working from home, and which was sooner than it happened like in a way that I wasn't expecting. Obviously, I thought I was gonna still be able to work and, you know, be mobile, so I had to force myself to like be active. So I would do like curb walks, and like I was prepping myself really well with raspberry tea and, you know, the okra water. And obviously it's my first child, so I can't say if, you know, comparing to any other experience, but I do think that contributed a lot to my experience, based on labor. But I'm trying to remember. I have mom brain really bad, so I'm trying to keep on track with the story. So I'm so sorry if it does become all over the place, but do y'all's best to keep up. But so we're after the baby shower. I'm having Braxton Hicks, and then finally towards the end of August, I'm like, no, this is happening at some point. I know it's happening, and I feel it. But some time goes by and she's just not coming, and I'm like, okay, interesting. And she wasn't due. I just thought she was gonna be early, and my doctor said she was gonna be early as well, and I was like, yeah, like I could tell. But no, she wasn't. She stayed her little behind in, and then I had my last appointment on like in September, and I had my last appointment, and that day I couldn't feel her anymore, and I was like, I'm not feeling her movement, and so everybody went into a panic. I got sent to the hospital. I was admitted, and because she was so big and I wasn't feeling her, it was a danger. By the way, at this point I wasn't risk anymore, and I did not have placenta previa. They confirmed that was like it was fixed, it was fine. However, I was still risk for preeclampsia and so on and so forth, because they were worried about all the weight gain that I had and everything. And so yeah, so my mom and I are there. We're admitted to the hospital, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna have a baby today at some point. And so I had my mom and I had Eric's mom in the room, and we got there at like 11 in the morning, 10 in the morning, and I was just kind of walking around the hospital. We were watching movies and chilling, resting at first, but then once I got admitted, I was walking around the hospital trying to labor on the hospital, and they did induce labor. That was not in my labor plan, and if I could do it differently, I would. But obviously, I didn't want anything to happen to my baby or myself, and Black women have a very high rate of complications and dying and not being listened to. Fortunately, my mom does not, like, she will advocate for me when I cannot, and she was there to help me. And so yeah, she was my advocator when I was, like, not able to speak for myself. She knew what I had wanted. And so they do initiate the labor. So they did a balloon. Worst experience of my life. I had no idea about this balloon. Basically, they put a balloon in you. They insert a balloon in you, and then they blow it up to expand it, and it's what helps you start to dilate. It's the worst. It's a forced dilation. It's the worst pain I've ever felt. That was worse than birth itself. The worst pain I have ever felt. So for hours, I'm sitting, like, I'm in bed, I'm in pain. I'm sweating, I'm crying, like, I'm in pain. In so much pain. Like, and they just like, we can give you the epidural. And I was like, no. Like, I was so, like, adamant on not having an epidural. I did not want an epidural. And I didn't want the Pitocin. I didn't want it to be induced. Like, I didn't want any of that. I was already induced. So I was like, no, I'm going against my plan. This is not what I want. So so yeah, they're waiting, and by the time, like, we're still doing the balloon, they're waiting, and I get to, I think, like 3 centimeters, 3 centimeters dilated, or 4 centimeters dilated, and the balloon comes out. I was like, yeah, take it out. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is just, it's not it. My body will do it itself. And so they took the balloon out, and then it went a little further. So I was going a little further. Honestly, I could be wrong about how far it went, centimeters wise. It probably went further, but I just know that it lasted for hours, and it took hours for me to become dilated. But then once I hit a certain point, like, it just started going fast. So by this time, it's like 7 at night. It's like storming outside, and I'm exhausted, and people are coming to see me, like my sisters and stuff. Actually, I don't even think my sisters saw me. In my head, they saw me. I think my mom FaceTimed them or something, but my mom was there. Eric's family came, his mom and dad, and then his mom stayed to kind of just I believe his sister was there, but his mom stayed to be supporting the room as well. And then I'm resting, and I'm still like up and around. I didn't want the epidural yet. I want to be able to, I didn't want it at all, but I wanted to be up and able to be on the ball. But the pain the balloon gave me, I was like, maybe I need the epidural. Maybe I need the epidural. But keep in mind I had scoliosis, so they were like, you have scoliosis, and well, basically just saying that if I waited too long, it'd be too late. They'd have trouble doing it, da 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 da. Whatever. I got to 7 centimeters, and honestly, the fact that I got to 7 centimeters unmedicated, I should have just kept going. I really should have just kept going, but I let them get in my head, and I let that, at that point, fear seeped in, and I was exhausted, and I just let it happen. So I was like, okay. So I got the epidural, and the man comes in, the anesthesiologist, and he comes in, and mind you, I'm like this big. No exaggeration. I'm like this big, and to get the epidural, you have to hunch over off the side of the bed so that they can get your back. So I'm hunching over. I'm contracting as I'm hunching over. So I'm like trying to get through the pain. He's telling me to stop moving, and I'm like, do you ever work with pregnant women? Like, have you worked with pregnant women before? I'm not sure. He stabbed me a couple times, and he's like forcing, the needle's bending, he's forcing it to get in, and it's not getting in. So he's like, yeah, this is just not gonna happen, da 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 da. And I'm sitting there, I'm in pain. He's just like, he can't do it. I was moving too much, and they're trying to be like, just breathe through it, breathe through it. And they're yelling at him, and they're like, you need to get it done, da da da. He's like, well, I can't get it done when this is da da da. I was like, you can't do your job. It was such a hassle. I was so stressed. So then he leaves, and some lady comes in, an Asian woman comes in, and guardian angel, she was amazing. She comes in, mind you, I have like 2 or 3 holes in my back already from the man, and she was just like looking at his work and just like disgusted by it. And then comes in, she's talking, and I'm like, okay, and I'm like, well, whenever you're ready. And she was like, well, it's already done. And I was like, she was that fast, no pain. I didn't have to do anything extra. Like, she worked through my contractions. She was amazing. So did that. I'm not sure if it went evenly. I don't know. I felt like I could still feel stuff. Initially, it's like, yeah, everything's like paralyzed. And at that point, I was able to rest. So my body started, at that point, it was moving way faster. I was dilating faster. And it was like maybe 10 around this time. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna rest for the next few hours as long as I can until, I'm done. I'm still feeling contractions. And they hooked you up there. You're hooked up to the monitor that shows the contractions, how long they are, that kind of thing. And so since you have the epidural, you have a button that you can press when you want to release, but I didn't understand how it works, so I didn't want to waste any until it's time for me to push. And so I'm just like, let me just rest, like as I'm here. So time's going, and I start feeling, it's like hours go by, and I'm resting. Oh, at this point I have the shakes. I had no idea that you had the shakes. I mean, no joke, I'm like this. Look like I'm withdrawing from something. But I had a horrible shake, so I couldn't, I'm like it was so bad. I just hurt myself. I was layered with multiple blankets, and it wasn't that I was cold, but I had chills. And so I'm just trying to rest with my shakes. My mom and Eric's mom were in there, and they're resting and preparing the room essentially, and preparing themselves, and so it was around 3 a.m. that I'm like, I'm feeling, I think I gotta poop. I'm feeling crazy pressure. And my mom was like, well, is it like, do you think you have to poop? Or, cause like when you feel like you have to poop, usually like the pressure, you feel it towards your anus more. So that's when you're about to start pushing. That's the baby. And that's why a lot of women end up pooping, because you're pushing with certain muscles that end up pushing out your poop. And it feels like you have to poop because you gotta poop. And so that was one of my fears of pooping on the table. I really did not want to poop on the table. Do whatever you need to do, see whatever you need to see, but I was not trying to poop on that table. Thankfully I didn't, but yeah, I just did not want to poop on that table. So I'm calling people in, and I'm like, I feel like I need to push. And they're like, no, it doesn't look ready yet, so just hold on. And I'm like, all right, trying to rest. And some time goes by, and at that point I was like, my body started pushing, and I was like, yo, I'm ready, whether you're ready or not. And they were not ready, and they're like trying to get everything set, and I'm like and I'm feeling like my body's trying to push, and they're like, okay, hold on. So everyone's rushing to get stuff ready, and my midwife comes in, and we start going. And so my mom is recording. We're not supposed to be recording, but my mom was recording, and Eric's mom was on FaceTime with him. So his mom's FaceTiming him. There's a time difference, so he's sleeping. And so we woke him up. He's watching on FaceTime, and I'm pushing, and we started pushing at 4 a.m. exactly at 4 a.m. And she came out at 4:18 in 3 pushes. So yeah, we got that done. And so there was some worry though, because the lady on my last, right before my last push, my third push, she did some weirds. Like the room had an energy. Like my mom and Eric's mom were like, and like looked so fearful, and like the doctor looked scared, like she was seeing something. And I'm like, oh my god, my baby's dead. Like, oh my god, I'm thinking so many crazy things, and I was panicked. I was so panicked. Mid, push, whatever pain, whatever it is, like I'm just like, there's so many thoughts going through my head, like, oh my gosh, all of this work, and I'm not gonna go home with my baby. Like, it was, I don't know, it was just so dreadful. And like that's within seconds. And so the lady, she like jumps on my belly, and then like turns, she does some stuff like that, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? She scared me. So immediately I said, oh fuck no. And I did the hardest push I could do on that last one, and she came out, and we were waiting for that cry, and then she cried. But I was so disassociated. Like, it wasn't one of those like, oh my baby, oh my, no, I was just like this. We're done? Like, are we done? And my mom's like, your baby's on your chest. And I'm like, it was like everything was slow motion, but it was happening so fast, and it was really crazy. And like, so then she's there, and like, your baby's on your chest, and they're like, okay, start breastfeeding, and then like you have to push your placenta out. So I'm not worried about any of that, because I'm focused on the fact that I'm pushing out my placenta. And then the epidural had already worn off, so I feel me pushing out the placenta. My mom's pressing the epidural button for me, and they already took it out. And I was like, why would you take it out already? Like, it was messed up. I don't understand. Not took it out, but like stopped the medicine line. I was like, why would you stop the medicine? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I'm feeling the stitching. I'm feeling all of it. And so I'm like going through that pain. And my mom was like, your baby. And I'm like, I can't focus. Like, I'm feeling every bit of the stitch, every other needle. I had a 2nd-degree tear. So I tore like inside. No, I tore from the rooter to the cooter. And so they're sewing all that up, and then yeah, they have my baby. They're doing this stuff on the side, and I'm just I still have the shakes, and it's just like I'm just like disassociated. It really did. But then like we got like an hour to ourselves of just like us being able to just, she's on my chest, and I'm just resting and breathing and looking at her, and I'm like, oh my god, this is our baby. I'm talking to Eric like, babe, like, this is our baby, da 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 da. And then he had to go to sleep. He had practice in the morning, so he's there. So it's just me and her. And there was a time where it's just just me and her together, and mom's there. But like, it's just, I don't know, it was just, that was our only slow time. After that, it was on the go. And so the next day in the hospital, because it's already 5 a.m 6 a.m, so next day I'm not getting any rest overnight or anything like that. We're immediately going into your next shift of doctors who are coming in to do everything they need to do. So I'm up for that day as well. And that was a very long day. People are visiting, my family's visiting and stuff like that. And so leading into that night, I'm like, okay, I can get some rest that night. And that didn't happen because she had to do the glucose test, and she kept failing her glucose test. And so basically what they do is they come in and they prick your baby's feet. to get blood, and then they put it on a test, and if they pass the test, they're fine, and if not, then you have to keep taking it until they pass. And so she took it. I mean, it was like every hour, and then you have to like they had to feed her like 15 milliliters of milk to make her blood sugar a certain way to have a reaction. So the baby that has a little peanut stomach is being force fed. That's why she eats so much now. It's being force fed her first day on earth, and being pricked and stabbed all day, screaming all day. Come to find out, she wasn't passing the whole time because my milk, I wasn't giving her enough milk. Like, I wasn't producing enough milk for her. So that was affecting her testing. And so that last test they gave her, basically there was this like ominous threat of, if she doesn't pass this, we have to take her to the NICU. So it was just so much anxiety around it, and you know, I feel like that also aided in my horrible postpartum that I had. But it was just a rough, it felt like a few days, but it was all in one day. That was a 24-hour period. It was a rough 24-hour period. I had no sleep. Like, it was so much. And then I'm struggling trying to nurse. They're trying to bring stuff in the lactation. She won't latch well. Her latching was a problem. That's what it was. It wasn't that I wasn't producing. Her latching was a problem. So they gave me the hospital grade machine. I was able to pump. My milk supply wasn't fully in yet, but lactation lady came in. She's trying to help me with latching her, and I just thought, you know, the baby would latch naturally. Like, they know what to do. They're gonna latch, and like they do, but at the same time they don't. Like, you still have to maneuver and do certain things. So, and it's incredibly painful. I had no idea breastfeeding was so painful. They have no teeth, you know, like, why would it be painful? No, it's horrible. It's horrible. So that pain is there, and then you're literally just trying to learn how to, you know, give your baby what you need. And then when you can't give your baby what they need, it's like, it's so hard. It's so hard. Fortunately, they gave me like donor milk until I was able to establish my supply. And, you know, fast forward, Eric surprises me at the hospital. And that was, you know, amazing. And we take our baby home, and he was there for the first, I think, 2 days. So he's there for the first 2 days, and he's just, you know, letting me rest and helping me. And I'm just dreading him leaving, because I know at that point that means I'm by myself, and I'm by myself, and I can't rest and heal the way that I need to. And, you know, I knew it was going to be a rough time. And immediately once he left, I went into survival mode. That's exactly what happened. I went into survival mode, and I was a shell, and nobody saw or heard from me, because it was straight, I have to do what I have to do to make sure my baby is okay. I have to make sure that I'm surviving. I have to make sure, you know, I'm giving us what we need, and so on and so forth. It was rough. It was rough. Finally, my milk supply came in, and I actually ended up being an over producer, which had its own complications of itself, because I had a baby who couldn't latch. So it wasn't like I could relieve myself because she wasn't latching. So I ended up getting mastitis a few times. I ended up being engorged almost every day. I had to pump extra and use the catchers. Like, you'll put the Hakas and the little ladybug catchers. Had to use those. Those were amazing, but I had to do a lot of researching to figure out how to help myself, because I would have like red veins and so much heat, and you would have lumps, and then you would clog your armpits, and if you get bad enough, you can leak from your armpits. Like, it's because your lymph nodes and your ducts are back, like they connect back here, they'll spread back there. So my boobs were just engorged. It was crazy. I would leak, and I smelled like milk constantly, and I had just hella milk. And it was a job. Like, I had to, if not feed her every hour, pump every hour. So it was like every 30-minute cycle, I was feeding her and then pumping, and then feeding her and then pumping, because I just had so much milk, and I had to relieve myself. It's not I could ignore it. I had to relieve myself. If not, I could literally get sick and die. So like, it's like, what an extreme. And then yeah, like the first few months, it was just us. And this might be a story for a different day, because I feel like this video is long enough. But like how I actually was in postpartum, my postpartum anxiety and postpartum depression. I had that very heavily. I had hallucinations. It was really rough, and I didn't have my partner back until December, so she was 4 months. Yeah, she was 4 months, going into 4 months at that time. So yeah, I did like the 4 months by myself, and you know, it was hard. His family was able to help, my family was able to help, but nobody's there to be, you know, every day. It's just me, and I'm not getting the sleep I need, and you know, I'm running off of no sleep, barely feeling myself. We had a couple hurricanes during that time, so I mean, it was a really rough season. Thank the Lord I am on the other end, and I have a healthy baby, a happy baby. My relationship is better. We had to do a lot of work with that because a lot of resentment was there, and a lot of learning on his end when he came back into our schedule and like stuff like that. So like I said, a video for a different day, but in summation, that's my birth story. And that's, you know, I think I would love I know that I'm on the other end of all of this, because at some point I was like, don't ever ask me if I'm having another baby, because that was a threat. Like, I'll pop you in your throat. That was a threat. But now it's kind of like I can play with the idea of having another one. And when I was young, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have 3 kids. And right now, 1 is fine. I'm good with 1. One is happy. You know, we're good with that. So I don't. It's. I don't know, but I am. I think that was part of my reel here. But I can play with the idea of having another one, because I know I want to give her a sibling, and now I can actually think about it. I can actually entertain the idea, whereas before I was like, no, never in my life, ever. You know, and I think I will be able to experience a pregnancy where I have my partner with me. I have support. I don't have to crawl around my house to get things done, and I can ask him for help, and you know, I can lean on him, and we can go to the appointments together, and you know, I can actually experience the pregnancy the way that I had always dreamt of. And I think for a while I felt like I was being punished because I didn't get married first, and so I had a lot of spiritual warfare during that time, and boy, the enemy was trying to whip me, but thank you God. But yeah, I feel like that's a good summation. I might have missed a few things. A lot of things were hazy and blurry, but I mean, it was just a rough experience overall. Would I do it again? Yeah, I think the reward was amazing. My baby is, I mean, that's my baby. She's so special, and I'm just so grateful to have her. And I have a good man, and he's a great father. And so I'm just really thankful for that experience and understanding, you know, the not so beautiful side of it, you know. And you know, it could have been all that, and that I ended up, you know, not being able to have my baby like so many women experience. So regardless of how horrible it was, I'm still I'm still one of the fortunate ones. So yeah, I can't replace that experience. I can only hope to have a better one in the future if possible, but that was my experience, and I think it's a better thing because it made me stronger. It made me realize how amazing I am and how I can do anything. And you know, I hate having to go through lessons to learn that, but I really can do anything, and the Lord was with me through it all. He really was. He never left me, not once. And I had some great people in my corner who were praying over me and being my on the front lines for me in that spiritual battle, so I can appreciate them as well. But yeah, thank you for listening. I only got like 5 hair things done, and we're 40 minutes in, but I appreciate you guys listening to me, and I hope you enjoyed my birth story. Okay, bye.